Hello, fellow gardeners. If you've been watching Smart Garden, you know we're all about helping you achieve gardening success without exhaustion. Today I'm thrilled to share one of the most transformative gardening systems available, the Keyhole garden. Are you tired of backbreaking gardening with disappointing results? Imagine a garden that practically waters itself, yields more produce than you thought possible, and requires a fraction of the work. That's the Keyhole garden reality. Let's discover how you can transform your outdoor space into a productive, low-maintenance food factory. Tired of garden overwhelm? Meet the Keyhole garden. Traditional gardening feels overwhelming. You're constantly bending over to pull weeds, hauling heavy soil, fighting pest problems, and watching your water bill climb as you struggle to keep everything hydrated. If you've felt that frustration, you're not alone. Thousands of home gardeners abandon their projects each year simply because the work-to-reward ratio feels impossible. But what if there was a different way? What if you could create a garden that practically works for you? Enter the Keyhole garden, a revolutionary growing system that has quietly transformed gardens across the world. This isn't just another gardening trend, it's a fundamental rethinking of how we can combine efficiency, sustainability, and abundance into one beautiful, productive space. The Keyhole garden solves the traditional gardening puzzle by integrating multiple systems into a single, elegant design. Imagine a garden that waters itself, feeds itself, reduces your bending by up to 70%, and yields significantly more produce in a smaller footprint. The beauty is that it accomplishes all this not through complicated technology or expensive equipment, but through intelligent design and working with nature's own processes. Keyhole garden design for dummies, and delivers. At its core, the Keyhole garden is a circular raised bed structure typically about 6 feet in diameter and waist-high for comfortable access. The genius of this design lies in several interconnected features that work together harmoniously. Picture a circle with a pie-slice wedge cut out of one side. That wedge-shaped opening is the keyhole that gives this garden its name. This serves a critical practical purpose. It allows you to access the entire garden without ever stepping on the soil itself, protecting the structure and fertility of your beds while making harvesting and maintenance effortless. At the very center sits the most important component: the central composting basket. This basket, typically made from mesh, wire, or stacked rocks, is where the real magic happens. Rather than composting separately and then transporting finished compost to your garden, the Keyhole garden brings composting directly into your growing space. You add your kitchen scraps directly into this central basket. As these materials decompose, they create a slow-release system that feeds nutrients and moisture directly into the surrounding soil. The construction method used for Keyhole gardens is based on lasagna gardening, or sheet composting. Instead of relying on a single soil base, you build up the bed using alternating layers of different organic materials. The sequence includes cardboard at the bottom, followed by layers of nitrogen-rich materials like manure or grass clippings, carbon-rich materials like leaves or straw, and finished compost. These layers continue upward, creating an incredibly rich, fertile growing medium that improves over time. The raised bed design offers tremendous advantages. By elevating your growing area, you're reducing the bending required for planting, weeding, and harvesting, significant if you have back problems. The raised structure also improves drainage, helps retain moisture and heat, and naturally deters some pests while preventing grass and weeds from invading. Revolutionize your harvest. More food, less fuss. How does the Keyhole garden actually deliver on its promise of more produce with less work? The answer lies in understanding how multiple efficiency factors combine to create extraordinary gardening results. Water efficiency is perhaps the most dramatic advantage. In traditional gardening, much moisture evaporates before benefiting your plants, and you spend significant time and money on irrigation. With a Keyhole garden, the story is completely different. When you add water to the central composting basket, it filters down slowly through decomposing materials, providing steady, reliable moisture to the surrounding soil. The compost acts as a moisture reservoir, so your plants stay well hydrated even during dry periods. This can reduce your watering needs by up to 50% or more. Continuous fertility is another game changer. Traditional gardens require regular fertilizing through commercial products or constantly adding compost. A keyhole garden creates its own fertility engine. Every time you add kitchen scraps to the central basket, you're adding nutrients that decompose and feed your plants. This ongoing process means your soil becomes richer and more biologically active over time. Your plants will show noticeably stronger growth, better disease resistance, and more abundant production. The reduction in maintenance is genuinely remarkable because your soil is continuously enriched and your plants are consistently well-nourished and hydrated. They're naturally healthier and more vigorous. Healthy plants resist pests and diseases far better than stressed plants. The dense layered construction and waist-high design also make weeding exponentially easier. You're dealing with far fewer weeds, and the ones that appear are incredibly easy to remove from the soft, rich soil. The yield increases are significant. Gardeners with keyhole gardens consistently report that they can grow 3 to 4 times more food in the same square footage compared to traditional beds. A 6-foot diameter keyhole garden can genuinely feed a small family for much of the growing season. Building your keyhole oasis. Practical steps. Ready to create your own keyhole garden? The wonderful news is that this is an incredibly budget-friendly project. You likely have many materials already, and those you need are inexpensive and often available for free from reclaimed sources. Start by gathering materials. For the structure, you can use reclaimed wood, corrugated metal, stacked rocks, bricks, or old pallets. For the central composting basket, create one from wire fencing or hardware cloth, or simply stack rocks in a cylinder shape. You'll also need cardboard for the base layer and various organic materials for your lasagna layers. Begin by choosing a location receiving at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily. Mark out your 6-foot circle and remove any grass or weeds. Lay down your cardboard base with slightly overlapping pieces to prevent weeds from growing through gaps. This barrier will eventually decompose and feed the soil, so use uncoated, non-glossy cardboard. Build your circular structure around this cardboard base. Stack your materials until you reach waist height, typically around 2.5 to 3 feet. Ensure the structure is sturdy and won't collapse under the weight of soil and water. Once your basic structure is complete, go ahead and construct your central composting basket right in the center. Make it tall enough so it extends from the bottom of your bed almost all the way to the top. Create a cylinder that's about 1.5 to 2 feet in diameter, and be sure to leave gaps for water and airflow. Now, it's time to build your lasagna layers. Start with a nitrogen-rich material directly over your cardboard base, something like grass clippings or aged manure, and make it about 2 inches deep. Next, follow with a similar depth of carbon-rich material such as leaves or straw. Just keep alternating these layers, and every few layers, add some finished compost. You'll want to end with a nice, thick layer of finished compost or high-quality soil. If you let those layers settle for a few weeks before planting, you'll honestly see even better results. Beyond the garden itself, the keyhole garden is really about the future of effortless abundance. It's more than just a smart gardening technique, it's a lifestyle shift towards sustainable, abundant, and joyful food production. When neighbors see your circular garden producing abundant vegetables with minimal effort, conversations just naturally start. You become a resource for sustainable living in your community, and suddenly, gardening looks accessible and exciting rather than overwhelming. The environmental benefits are actually significant. Every pound of vegetables you grow at home means fewer miles traveled in food transportation, less packaging waste, and a smaller carbon footprint. A single keyhole garden producing 3 to 4 times more food than traditional beds is, honestly, a genuine environmental win. Perhaps most importantly, the keyhole garden really helps reclaim the joy in gardening. Instead of seeing your garden as work that requires painful bending, constant watering, and disappointing yields, you get to experience gardening as a pleasure. You end up spending time in a beautiful space that feeds your body and soul, while only requiring a fraction of the effort you probably expected. The keyhole garden is revolutionary because it takes natural processes we've understood for decades and organizes them into a system that actually works for busy home gardeners. If you've been dreaming of a garden that practically runs itself while yielding abundant food, that dream is absolutely within reach. If you found this guide helpful, please subscribe to the Smart Garden channel for more transformative gardening techniques. Share this article with fellow gardeners in your life. Together, We can help more people discover the Keyhole garden advantage and reclaim the joy of gardening. Your most abundant growing season is just one Keyhole garden away. Let's get growing.